Hey, come see us do live shows January 3rd in Los Angeles, Honolulu after that, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets. So I don't know if you heard about this, but ABC News has settled a Trump lawsuit. Trump was suing ABC for $15 million, or I don't know how much, but they're going to pay him $15 million. So they give $15 million to the presidential library and $1 million for his attorney fees. And Stephanopoulos has to apologize for the false claims he made. Can we get another article on how only the corporate media can be trusted? Wow. The news is so shocking. That wherever Rob Reiner has relocated to, it's going to make him pack up and move again. What's going on? Okay. So I want to, this is what George Stephanopoulos got in trouble for. He kept, first of all, he was hectoring a woman who's a rape victim, saying, using her rape victim status against her for supporting Donald Trump, someone who has not been convicted of rape. But this guy, George Stephanopoulos, lied on behalf of his credibly accused multiple times, Bill Clinton, of sexual assault and rape by Juanita Broderick. Credibly accused many times. They paid off one woman, Paula Jones. I think they gave her almost $1 million. And who was the guy doing it? They had a war room set up to attack any woman who said something about Bill Clinton. That's how often it was happening. And he was out in front of it. So this turned everybody's stomach here at the show anyway.
Yep.
Watch what he does to her.
I still get judged for it today.
I'm asking you a very simple question.
And I answered it. You're shaming me for my political choices.
I'm asking you a question about why you endorse someone who's been found liable for rape.
Oh, so that's the lie. He wasn't found liable for rape. So that's the lie. He was, by the way, they had the most corrupt judge in the whole country presiding over that in New York, so that this woman, Jean Carroll, who I'm convinced is making it up, they had, looks like she's making it up. They literally had to change the law so that she could sue him because it had way past statutory time limits. They passed the law in the legislature of New York State. That then they gave it some kind of name like, oh, we give a one time you can go back and accuse somebody of something that happened. So they're saying this happened in the 90s. The woman never said anything until right when Donald Trump's about to win the presidency again. Some 30 years later. And anyway, so that's what this is about. And so he keeps saying, so that was the lie. He wasn't found liable for rape in a court. He wasn't.
It was not a criminal court. This was a civil court. It was a civil court. And by the way, she joked about the judgment and what she was going to do with all that money. And I find that offensive.
I'm asking you
about as a rape victim who's been shamed for years now because of her rape, you're trying to shame me again by asking me this political question.
You've repeated that again.
I think it's offensive. As a woman,
I mean, this is a guy who repeatedly attacked women on behalf of Bill Clinton, who's been credibly accused of rape. But he didn't have the government doing lawfare against him because Bill Clinton went along with the war machine in Wall Street.
I find it offensive. For my political choices, I've endorsed the man that I believe is best for our country. It's not Joe Biden. And you looked at the dueling rallies yesterday in Georgia. Laken Riley's family was with Donald Trump. They weren't with Joe Biden. The same guy yesterday that apologized for calling her killer an illegal, who wasn't illegal. And here you are trying to shame a rape victim. I find it disgusting.
I mean, you keep saying I'm shaming you.
You are. The question, it is.
What else do you think you're doing?
Presidential candidate.
What else do you think? Of course you're doing that. Of course you're using her rape victim status against her. That's exactly what you're doing.
And also bringing up a fake rape to do it.
That's
one
right.
That's fake as hell.
You're asking a rape victim.
And there's no question about that. And you've courageously talked about that.
Because I've been raped. I think that's disgusting.
No, I'm questioning your political choices because you're supporting
me. You're
someone who's been found liable for rape. Actually, I'm not trying to.
You are. That's exactly.
You're not answering the question.
I think it's disgusting.
Well, you're welcome to say that, but you have to answer the question. Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape?
I just answered your question.
What is the answer?
He was not found guilty in a criminal court of law. It was sexual abuse. It wasn't actually rape, by the way. And E. Jean Carroll joked about all the money she's going to get and made a mockery out of this case. And I think that's offensive. There's a reason why women don't come forward. And when you have someone who says that they're raped and they make a mockery out of this civil court judgment, it's offensive to other women. It makes it harder for other women to come forward when another woman has made a mockery of it.
You said women don't come forward because they are afraid. They are afraid because
they're defamed and shamed
by those
like you're trying to shame me this morning.
They are afraid to come forward, as you said, because they are defamed by those who commit the rape. That's what Donald Trump has been found guilty of doing.
He defended himself over that and denies that it ever happened, but he was not found guilty in a criminal court of law.
He worked for Bill Clinton.
This guy,
he worked for Bill Clinton.
It's like if he worked for Jeffrey Epstein and he's sitting there trying to shame a rape victim. It was unbelievable. That just shows you who George Stephanopoulos is. So ABC agreed to pay $15 million to Donald Trump's presidential library to settle the defamation. And for everybody who's laughing at the idea of a Donald Trump library, just picture the Joe Biden library. It's going to... You know, you walk in and there's just going to be Post-it notes everywhere reminding Joe Biden where he is.
It's going to be in Ukraine, too, so you're probably not going to see it.
And so this is just strictly to humiliate them because they could have easily been told to spend that money at the tables in Vegas. And by the way, George, look at Stephanopoulos. All of a sudden, his Twitter account deleted.
George Stephanopoulos doesn't exist.
Oops, he must have said on his phone accidentally and butt deleted his account. I wonder if his account got raped. ABC News has agreed to pay $15 million towards Donald Trump's presidential library to settle defamation lawsuit over anchor George Stephanopoulos' inaccurate on-air assertion that the president-elect had been found civilly liable for raping writer E. Jean Carroll.
Should have said adjudicated.
It was another lawfare. And I'm going to show you who the judge was in this case.
The story came from Law & Order, for the record. As
part of the settlement made public Saturday, ABC News posted an editor's note to its website expressing regret over Stephanopoulos' statements. They're going to pay $1 million for his legal fees, too. Here it is. Editor's note. ABC News and George Stephanopoulos regret statements regarding President Donald J. Trump's made during an interview by George Stephanopoulos with Representative Nancy Mace at ABC's This Week on March 10th, 2024. So, and nobody actually regrets their comments. He doesn't. What he regrets is that his comments blew up in his face like a gag exploding cigar. Yeah. He's sorry that their bullshit got called out.
He thought he was doing his job.
And this is, and George Stephanopoulos is operating in a world where even someone who is supposed to tell the truth, no matter what, you know, like a news reporter, is now publicly shamed for having an opinion that goes against the script. So right under your nose, you're watching somebody openly be the opposite of everything they're supposed to be. And if you see it often enough, you burn out and you stop caring that this is going to continue to happen.
You know,
and that's how these things keep happening.
Look, that'd be fine if people burnt out and stopped caring. But what gets at me is people getting really moralizing and self-righteous.
That's
after
right.
They didn't listen.
That's right.
Go tune out if you want, but don't come at me with morals with something. George Stephanopoulos, are you joking?
During a live This Week interview, Representative Stephanopoulos has found neither verdict. So neither verdict involved the finding of rape as defined under New York law. In the first of the lawsuits to go to trial, Trump was found liable last year of sexually abusing and defaming Carroll. A jury ordered him to pay $5 million. Okay. In January, at a second trial at federal court in Manhattan, Trump was found liable in addition to for defaming her, and he had to pay $83 million. Trump's appealing both those, right? And
well, I could be wrong, but I don't think he was found. What found him liable for was saying she wasn't his type, and then they showed pictures of Marla Maples and his older wife, and they're all blonde. So that was like the thing that hinged on. I don't remember him ever.
So
that's why they say adjudicated.
She's a former advice columnist. She went public in 2019 memoir with her allegation that Trump raped her in the mid-90s. She couldn't remember the date it happened. Shouldn't that be at a Bergdorf Goodman? That's a luxury Manhattan department store across the street from Trump Tower after they crossed paths in an entrance. Trump
they allow that at that fancy store. Did you know that?
Yeah.
They'll just let you do that at Bergdorf Goodman. No one would even...
Trump denied her claim, saying he didn't know her and never ran into her at the store. After she'd agreed to help Trump shop for a gift for a woman, Carroll, that's what, according to her, she testified that he pushed her against a dressing room wall, stamped his mouth onto hers, yanked down her tights, and shoved his hand and then his penis inside her while she struggled against him. And she didn't tell anybody. She didn't yell. She didn't tell anybody. She just walked.
2016, she didn't bring it up.
She didn't bring it up in 2016. Really didn't bring it up. She finally needed him to get her off of her, and then she fled.
Yeah, it wasn't until Reid Hoffman paid for the whole thing.
That's right.
She finally came out.
In upholding the $5 million judgment in the first trial, the U.S. District Judge Lewis Kaplan, keep that in mind. He's probably the most corrupt judge in the whole country, and I'm going to show you why in a second. You see have you seen the judges they got to preside over his cases?
They look like supernatural creatures.
They are beyond mental cases.
Well, I like the one Biden just pardoned, the Cash for Kids scandal.
That's right.
Great job.
So I can't believe we didn't cover that today. He wrote that the unanimous verdict was almost entirely in favor of Carroll, except that the jury concluded she had failed to prove that Trump raped her within the narrow technical meaning of that particular law. Okay. Kaplan, who presided over both of the same judge for both that woman's lawsuits against him, the same judge. I wonder why they did that. Said the definition of rape was state finding under New York law, rape finding. Okay. The judge said the verdict did not mean that Carroll failed to prove that Mr. Trump raped her, as many people commonly understand the word rape. The jury found that Mr. Trump, in fact, did exactly that. This is what this guy's saying. So here's the actual thing. U.S. District Court of Southern District, E. Jean Carroll versus Donald Trump. This is what they call, it says the verdict form. Did Ms. Carroll prove by a preponderance of evidence that Mr. Trump raped her? No. There it is.
Which is very narrow. Like you had to actually have done it, you know?
And so that judge who presided over this case, which was another sham case, just like January 6th, just like the Fannie Willis one, just like the one...
Letitia James, the other guy.
Yeah, they're all
the Soros lawyers.
So this is from the International Association of Democratic Lawyers. More than 200 lawyers filed a judicial complaint against that judge, Lewis A. Kaplan.
That's the guy, this Donziger judge?
Over abusive targeting of human rights advocate Stephen Donziger. Now, I've showed you Stephen Donziger. We had him on the show because he won a court settlement against an oil company, and then the oil company got corrupt judges like this to go after after Donziger. It's so much so that, get this, there was a complaint signed by 37 different organizations representing 500,000 lawyers worldwide, details shocking violations of the Code of Judicial Conduct by a U.S. judge in long-running Chevron retaliation campaign.
Wait till Crystal Ball hears about this, because she was a big champion of Donziger, was she not?
Yeah, but of course she won't. She'll ignore this part. Chevron and Kaplan targeted Donziger after he helped indigenous peoples win a landmark $9.5 billion judgment against Chevron in 2011 for dumping oil and waste in the Amazon. Yeah. So Kaplan was the judge who did this, and 500,000 lawyers worldwide called what he did shocking violations of the Code of Judicial Conduct.
This isn't new. It's what's new
and
is
so
because
that's
it
how
happened to Trump, people had to, like Republicans who love the cops had to see how the cops look.
And so this is how corrupt your government is. They had to get that lawyer, because they had to find the most corrupt lawyer in the country to preside over both of those things, because both of those trials were corrupt. They had to literally have the state legislator in New York completely change the law so she could bring this lawsuit. And they did it just so they could get Donald Trump and keep him from all these lawfare things. And again, you don't have to like Donald Trump. You don't have to be a Trump fan to see what this means. If they could do this to a former president and a billionaire who was a darling of the establishment liberal media for decades and decades, if they could do this to him, they'll do it to Bernie Sanders, or they'll do it to Cornel West. They'll do it to you. They'll do it to anybody. They'll do it to anybody who stands up against the establishment. And that's why this is important.
In the smallest of ways. You could be 95% establishment like the first Trump term.
That's right.
And that's not good enough. You got to be a full-on robotoid.
And now Trump is also going to sue 60 Minutes over the Harrison. He's got a $10 billion lawsuit. The network aired 2 different responses from the vice president responding to a question about the war between Israel and Hamas. So after this, I'm really looking forward to seeing how Trump's lawsuit against CBS turns out. So he's got to, and I just want to, I want to show you how Trump, this guy is such a lying bitch. He's such a...
That's why he worked for Clinton.
And that's why... And he's such a corrupt piece of shit that Donald Trump can have the moral high ground and expose him without even trying. Watch. This is from earlier this year. Watch this.
Going back to last June, is there anything you regret?
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to have done certain things over, but you can't. You can't. But that's true in life. I'd love to have done in life certain things over, I guess. And you would have too.
Give me one.
You would have loved not to have contributed to the Clinton Foundation, as an example. There are things that you wish you didn't do, okay? You came very close to the edge. You would have loved to have had that decision over again.
Wow, it's like watching a bug walk into a Venus flytrap.
Yeah, that's George Stephanopoulos.
Yep.
Hey, Jimmy, remember when we reported how they changed the law to do this Trump thing? And
yes.
It was, okay, for 1 year, you can bring up stuff.
For 1 year.
But then, I guess, forever hold your rape inside and don't bring it up again. That's how they got Diddy. All these other people inadvertently got caught up in that 1 year thing.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So here's George Stephanopoulos. He disclosed that he gave $75,000 to the Clinton Foundation while covering the Clintons for ABC News. He had to apologize for that. This is real.
Shouldn't they be paying him?
Right? You would think.
What kind of punk are you? They should be paying you to be doing this propaganda.
ABC News chief anchor George Stephanopoulos has given $75,000 to the Clinton Foundation in recent years, charitable contributions that he did not publicly disclose while reporting on the Clintons or their nonprofit organization, the On Media blog has learned.
It must be some tax thing.
So why would he do that? You're right. They should be paying him. So he obviously wanted he's either some kind of tax thing or he wanted a favor from Hillary Clinton.
Oh, that's how you get Clinton wishes.
Yeah. So, wow, this is him when he was lying for when Bill Clinton. They literally had a war room, and they would attack anyone because they knew there were going to be a dozen women at least come out of the woodwork to accuse Bill Clinton of sexual harassment. This is before the internet, and they did. And one of them had credible claims of a rape. And here's how
Governor Clinton has a character problem, but I take it that your line of counterattack is that it's well. I mean, he has not denied that he has engaged in marital infidelity.
Bill Clinton's passed his character test throughout his life and throughout this campaign, and he's shown it through his commitments to real fights and what he's going to do.
When his eyes are so shifty, that's
so
you see his eyes going back and forth. I'm not a body language expert, but I know what my gut tells me, and my gut tells me that guy's a shifty liar.
Can you start again?
Governor Clinton has a character problem, but I take it that your line of counterattack is that it's well. I mean, he has not denied that he has engaged in marital infidelity.
Yeah, but that's not what this is even about. Nobody cares he cheated on his wife. People care.
Obviously, he does. They have an arrangement.
Yeah, obviously, the Clintons had an arrangement for a long time. He can go out and bang women, and she would look the other way.
They're both beards of each other.
Yes,
that's called being high class.
But look at that. Look at that. But what we're talking about is when he was accused of assaulting women, and these were credible, not fake, like the one that Anna Kasparian did against me, where she flashed her genitalia to the entire newsroom and then got mad and then tried to shut me up by blackmailing me.
She tried to do it so you can't talk about how Aaron Mate is not a Russian asset.
That's what it was about.
She didn't make a real accusation. She actually moronically hit you up to threaten you. So this experience of her flashing her employees.
Yeah.
Of her flashing employees, I will tell everyone how I flash my employees if you don't stop saying that was a lie. That's unbelievable. But do you remember?
And she sent me a DM to try saying you've been running your mouth. Well, that's gonna end because now I'm gonna accuse you of sexual harassment. What? Because I was telling the truth about them lying about Aaron Mate, saying he's being paid by the Russians and paid by Assad. That's what the Young Turks were doing. They were smearing an anti-war journalist, and to get me to shut up and stop defending him, she tried to blackmail me. It didn't work.
Also, she's the
didn't
boss.
Work. And that's right. Also, she was my boss.
It doesn't work if the boss, dude, if you were showing dick neck around the office and someone said, hey, nice news pants to you, the very idea that you would threaten them is so insane.
I know.
And so, that's why I believe her that she just now figured out whatever she figured out.
All right.
Cenk was lying the whole time.
Let's watch this again.
Governor Clinton has a character problem. But I take it that your line of counterattack is that it's well, I mean, he has not denied that he has engaged in marital infidelity.
Bill Clinton's passed his character test throughout his life.
Where did he take that character test? On Epstein Island?
No, Rhodes. He's a Rhodes scholar. Cecil Rhodes, the founder of apartheid.
And throughout this campaign. And he's shown it through his commitments to real fights. And what he's going to do in this campaign is focus on what's important to the American people, on the jobs and the education. That's what the American people care about.
Why are you supporting someone who's been found liable for rape? Well, actually, what you're doing is defending a man who's been found liable for rape. I don't understand how you can do that. So you're comfortable with Donald Trump being found liable for rape?
Do you hear how he said the phrase intentionally over and over again, which is how you try to put propaganda out, you repeat that same stupid fucking phrase, and it's not true because that's why he had to pay. That absolutely untrue statement that he said at least 3 times to embed it in the subconscious of the viewer, which they take classes in how to do that. That's why you get a media coach.
Hey, I don't need to tell you that our current state of our healthcare system's awful. Despite record spending, Americans experience worse health outcomes than our peers globally, and big pharma, big medicine, and lobbyists that have made their way into places they shouldn't be often lead to the suppression of products like the Juvent Micro Impact platform. I have one. I've been using it. I've had it for over a year. This platform will transform the way you think about and approach overall health. Your bones and cells require regular, healthy micro impacts to function at their best. Subtle, low-level impacts, the kind you get from walking in leather sandals or thin-soled shoes, but most people don't walk in thin-soled shoes. Most of us are walking around in running shoes day to day, and while running shoes are great for protecting your joints from high impacts of running, by wearing them too often, you could actually be shielding your body from something that's vital for your health. What is that? Micro impacts. Imagine being able to move without pain or discomfort, whether you're recovering from an injury or trying to stay active as you age. If you're serious about strengthening your bones, improving mobility, and reducing pain, this device is a game changer. The Juvent Micro Impact platform has the ability to improve your daily life as well as adding years to your vertical lifespan. Plus, your entire family can use it if you've got loved ones who are struggling. Or look, Nancy Pelosi just broke her hip. Not that she's my loved one, but if you've got loved ones who are struggling and are dealing with health issues yourself, you need to check out Juvent with a money back guarantee, a 10-year limited warranty, and financing available. There's no risk in trying it for yourself. Plus, if you've got an FSA, which means flexible spending account, you can use those funds toward your Juvent. Experience the difference firsthand. Visit juvent.com/Dore. Use the code DORE, that's D-O-R-E, for an exclusive $500 off. That's Juvent, that's JUVENT.com/DORE, code DORE, and check out, and you get $500 off. Start today toward better health and longer, more active life today. Hey, come see us do live shows January 3rd in Los Angeles, Honolulu after that, Baltimore, Maryland, Atlantic City, Cohoes, New York, and Providence, Rhode Island. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for tickets.